Hello and welcome to this IMPA online event, Sustainability in the Supply Chain. We're now live, and so welcome to all of you, wherever you are in the world, whatever time of day it is, welcome. What a shame we can't be together in person. I had very much hoped we would be able to gather together, but sadly that's not the case. The pandemic has caused us disruption and we've had to evolve. And certainly from IMPA's perspective, we've been busier than ever with a focus and agenda concentrating on today's principal subject of sustainability. It's been 10 years now that we've been active in the sustainability arena. And in the last 2 years, we've been busier than ever and seen more and more engagement in our programs like IMPA Act, IMPA Save, and our Sustainable Supplier Initiative in partnership with GBB. You'll be hearing from Bill at GBB a little bit later today. When I speak to people about sustainability, there's often a sense of confusion around what to do and how to do it, and almost a feeling that this is a subject so vast that it's very difficult for one person to make a difference. But sustainability is for everyone and all companies. Yesterday, I spoke to Shell Marine about some of the large-scale initiatives that they're working on. But the day before, I spoke to a small ship supplier in a far distant port about joining the IMPA Act programme. Sustainability is for all, and we must work together, collaborate and share knowledge and experiences for a common goal. And that's what we're trying to do today. We're fortunate that we've been able to gather together some of the front runners in the industry to work on the IMPA Save Council. And we're immensely grateful to them for their time, energy and commitment. These are individuals that are actively seeking out new initiatives and ideas to improve sustainability in the supply chain. And I'm learning a lot from them. What I hope for today is that everyone will be able to learn something and see that sustainability is indeed something for all, large corporate or small business. IMPA will continue to play its part in this arena, gathering individuals together, learning from others and sharing knowledge. We will collaborate and communicate, and we will always seek out new ways of doing things. We must continue to challenge ourselves, asking ourselves along the way, what can be done and how? Today, I'm delighted to announce that work will start now on the 8th edition of the IMPA Marine Stores Guide, and will see us making the biggest ever call to the industry for sustainable products. We want this new edition to include more sustainable products than ever before, whilst also looking at some of the products that are harmful to the environment. So we must all get involved with this, play our parts and think differently about how things have been done and how they can be better moving forward. So let's turn our attention to today's proceedings. And before I hand over to our chair of the IMPA Save Council, I'd just like to thank our sponsors, Shell Marine and Francois Marine and Offshore, and IMPA's partner and today's conference sponsor, RENA. We have a short video to play and then I'll be back. Okay, so thanks again, Tarina. Just a couple of housekeeping issues for today. We are in the most part live with people dialing in remotely, and so if there are any hiccups along the way, there'll be some announcements on the screen. Also, our ace producer, Don Scott at the IMPA office, is doing this today with a nasty dose of COVID. So he's being a bit of a hero, and thanks to Dom for battling on through. There are spaces in the programme for questions, so we will come to questions at the end of each speaker. If you have any questions for the speaker, please use the chat function for that. Please don't use that as a sort of promotion for your business. That's not what today's about. So, right, without any further ado, let me hand over to Mikael Karlsson, IMPA's Special Ambassador for Sustainability and Chair of the IMPA Save programme. Mikael.
Hi, and thank you, Stephen. And me as well. I'm very sad that we're not currently in London seeing each other, but next year, hopefully, we'll get to meet. And I miss meeting basically all of you. Okay, Dom, if you would go ahead. Albert Einstein said, "In the middle of difficulty lies opportunity." He shared this as he found the statement to be so true if we take time to look for it. According to Einstein, it means that we have lots of opportunity coming our way, but not everyone will see this opportunity. I'm often asked if I think people can change, that we can save the environment. My answer is yes, but we need to straighten out our priorities. The pandemic is proof of that. We care for humankind, we care for each other. We can collectively agree on protecting ourselves with rule setting and apply ourselves. But if you transition that into our challenged planet, if government prioritize saving humankind by saving our planet, surely we could save the environment. But perhaps we can't really see and understand the problem. It seems to me that our younger generation does. Einstein's words can be translated in any which way, but with the polluting challenges we are facing, a glimmer of willingness for change within our marine industry, which is ongoing. With new fuel alternatives, ship designs, engines, water production on board and more, we are embracing new technology, innovation, purpose, and evaluating new means on how to conduct our business. But are we changing it fast enough? In our world of marine procurement, many inefficiencies still exist. Yet, I see some making big efforts or reduce single-use items, asking suppliers to reduce CO2 or plastic wrapping, consolidating orders into single deliveries instead of using multiple suppliers, addressing product lifecycle cost, all actions that matter. But driving sustainability does require change, and the efforts are worth it, both environmental and economic. There's enough data showing that sustainability programs are not only correlated with good financial performance, but also play a role in creating it. There's also enough studies that many companies are not doing enough sustainable actions. Therefore, IMPA last month launched a program with Green Business Bureau. This is an initiative that will enable companies in the marine supply and manufacturing sector to use a custom-made and industry-specific online eco-planner to understand, prioritize, implement, and certify their green initiatives and navigate initiatives doing good. It touches not just on environmental issues, also on the social issues we sometimes tend to forget talking about sustainability. 31 owners and managers have committed to the IMPA Save program. By the way, we are 32 now because one Canadian company, Algoma, pledged last night. So we are 32. It's a program that like-minded people created during the pandemic. The 32 committed owners and managers have already begun putting in place systems reducing single-use drinking water bottles, but others have not. Yet we have 8,000 ships committed. What troubles me are all the companies that yet have to. A, show support, B, committing, and C, actually action it. Einstein might have a point. Not everyone sees this opportunity. I grew up as a kid watching The World of Sharks. Fantastic underwater films of turtles, whales, and above water, the penguins and polar bears thriving in their respective impressive surroundings. And so David Attenborough filming and presenting animals on the African savanna or orangutans in Borneo. These captivating films gave insight to an unknown world that fascinates most. It seems like yesterday, but scary how fast it goes. Today, within a few decades, these fantastic worlds are turning into a new reality. We see images of birds eating plastic and feeding their chicks with the same. Whales, seals being stuck and killed in waste. Large oceans with floating waste ending up in more animals. Animal habitats being destroyed for human wealth. I believe I don't need to say more about this. You know by now. But what to do? Where to begin? Many people are distracted by information overload on environmental matters. There is so much information, and we are constantly reminded of various issues and climate change. We somewhat understand the problem, but few understands what they can do. Many solutions are available, but which to pick? Where to invest time? Will it work? They're all valid questions that comes to mind. Often change are led by government regulations like garbage sorting in different bins being picked up and distributed, or IMO setting new emission standards which lead to change within shipping, closed down during a pandemic. But why do we wait for regulating bodies before we act? After many discussions with hundreds of companies for IMPA Safe, I'm surprised in a negative way how few companies are committed to IMPA Safe, looking at how many shipping companies there are. And sad to see that priorities are rather set on buying a membership to an organization that charges large fees, little action. Companies that fit their ongoing business into any of the current sustainable development goals, instead of driving real strategies for real change. And I'm not directing my discontent at this audience or this industry, but simply state that IMPA Safe is free to join. There's cost savings, support for the environment, and altogether we're removing 40 tons of plastic waste from these bottles, from our value chain. We're removing 1 million pallets being moved around worldwide for optimal price. Which garbage is likely to be burned? But it gives me hope that 32 companies have signed up and actioned. But where are the others, I keep asking myself. We will not have this conversation today without the produced documentaries about our environment and social impact on our world. Good or bad, it gives us joy and pain. We want to see and explore these fantastic places and or change our behavior to be part of easing the pain, facing our planet. Our environment should concern us all. It is ours to protect and ours to destroy. And we must make changes if we want a sustainable future. I know a plastic bottle might be just a small fraction, a drop in the ocean, so to speak, but it's a start. It's tangible, it's measurable, and it's polluting. But it begins with you. Please think hard about what you're doing, but then think about what you're not. Can you do more? Take time, look for it, a smart man said. And commitment can certainly be said about the person that you'll be listening to next, which documentaries actioned me and made me curious and aware about the problems we face. I'm pleased to introduce Jo Roxton, the producer of A Plastic Ocean on Netflix. Jo is a passionate campaigner for the oceans. Her career in conservation began in the 80s when she started the first marine program for Wildlife Foundation in Hong Kong. Here she lived for 14 years. During that time, she was a key advocate for establishment of the first maritime protected areas there. She was a lead member of the BBC Natural History Unit diving team for many years and has been producing and directing underwater sequences since the first days of filming on the award-winning Blue Planet series from 1997. During her 12 years at BBC, she was involved in numerous underwater films from Antarctica and the pristine reefs of the Caribbean and the Pacific Ocean for the BBC and Discovery Channel. Disappointed in the lack of conservation messages in the BBC films she worked on, she decided to leave to work independently. And when she started to hear about the problem of plastic waste in the oceans, she knew she had to tell the story as it was. She began to raise the funds needed to make the documentary feature A Plastic Ocean, and it was 2 years before there was enough to begin filming. The more she learned about the subject, the more determined she was to tell the story, as research was revealing a much bigger problem than she had ever imagined. It was 8 years before the multi-award-winning film A Plastic Ocean was finally released in 70 countries and 15 languages. Her journey has also led her on to a determination to get her knowledge into the classrooms, to be part of the school curriculum. Working with school teachers really educate our generations using part of her films and part of their programs. Now Jo wants to tell a story of love for the ocean, hope through her organization, a film about the solution to our challenges, a film about hope, which is also why we are campaigning for donations for the ocean's generations. So I'd like to welcome Jo Roxton. Thank you.